I don't.
Thank you for joining us on this beautiful day. This video is the 0th episode of a 5-part series where we'll be investigating the 5 families, from their beginning to this day. Get comfortable and enjoy. New York organized crime has been a subject of interest for the public despite the violence associated with it. Thanks to its influence, gangster movies became hugely popular among moviegoers in the 20th century. African American gangsters like Bumpy Johnson were mostly involved in narcotics, whereas the Italian American Mafia was linked with labor unions, racketeering, bookmaking, and more. Iconic films like The Godfather, Donnie Brasco, Goodfellas, and A Bronx Tale showed the gruesome truth of the Italian Mafia but also made it a go-to genre for millions of movie lovers. While organized crime has been mostly ineffective in the 21st century, the families that once ruled with an iron fist are still operational. Let's take a look at who currently rules the NY underworld and find out if the original 5 families are still influential. 5 families. Moniker given to the 5 major Italian American Mafia families in New York City: Bonanno, Colombo, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese. The families and their inner workings were publicly revealed in 1963, when a mafia soldier testified at a congressional hearing. The heyday of the 5 families is confined to roughly 4 decades, from 1931, when Salvatore Maranzano formed the consortium, to 1970, when the United States passed the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, better known as the RICO Act. But how exactly these groups operate on a day-to-day basis? Let's dive into the family's inner working and hierarchy. On top of each family is the boss. He gets a cut of all the operations the family is involved in and has full control over each part of the organization. Bosses come in different forms. Some choose to be a dictator that keeps all of the hard-earned money from the family. Others tend to be more charitable and treat their underlings good, as well as reinvesting the money into the family. All the captains in the family elect a new boss once the old one is gone. However, sometimes a person may take the position by force and influence. Despite being the CEO, a boss cannot lay their hands on another made man. They may issue fines or even order a hit as punishment, but it has to be with proper reason. If the boss of the family is incarcerated or unable to directly rule his family, a so-called street boss, or acting boss, will be in charge. Coming from its name, acting boss, this person is responsible for managing the family, passing down the word of the boss. The street boss is usually a well-respected and powerful underboss or capo. Next to the boss, there is a consigliere, also known as an advisor. A person of this position has a direct line to the thoughts of the boss and often is an older member of the family that holds a great amount of respect and trust from the soldiers all the way up to the boss himself. Consiglieres are oftentimes intelligent, as they are the main advisor to the boss and are supposed to help the boss refrain from making any mistakes. The underboss, as mentioned above, is the first rank of the so-called administration of a mafia family. An underboss is the core middleman between the boss and the captains as well as the soldiers. He is the official second in command and is selected for this position solely by the boss himself. An underboss also keeps an eye on what's taking place within the family. If any issues arise, he will either take care of it himself or forward the info to the boss so he can make a decision. Oftentimes, an underboss is also responsible for collecting all the kick-ups from the captains and forwarding them to the boss. Every mobster is supposed to give a cut of his earnings to the person he reports to the family, usually a capo. There are no minimum or maximum amount one needs to put in, however a super low amount may be taken as an insult. This amount is usually set by percentages, regardless the wise guy's earnings. Under the underboss, there are the caporegimes, also known as capos or captains. This person is like a mini-boss of their own. They command a group of associates and soldiers who carry out orders, plans and day-to-day activities. Caporegime is also the first administration position. The group of associates and soldiers that a caporegime commands is often referred to as a crew or faction. This rank is directly responsible to the underboss and boss. When you become a soldier, you also become a made man, which means that while you generate income you are untouchable without proper reason within the family. Being made is simply becoming a full member of your organization and a part of this thing of ours. This means you are to be respected more and grants you a few privileges, as well as more responsibilities. Usually there is a ceremony for when a new criminal is initiated into their respective family, but the way it goes down varies differently between organizations. In older times, you would need both of your parents to be of Italian descent to become a soldier. However, these days it is only required that you at least be of Italian descent from your father's side. Oftentimes a soldier will run their own crew of associates or have some under their wing and reporting directly to them. Soldiers report to and kick up to a capo. Associates and outsiders are supposed to treat soldiers and all the ranks above a soldier with immense respect. They are also given more information and know more about the inner machinations of the family. Soldiers are also meant to be teachers to all the associates looking to become someone. Soldiers will often teach an associate the ropes, tell them what to do and not to do, who is important and who is not. Below everyone are the associates. It's an introductory rank where a criminal needs to prove his worth and value to the family. An alternate way of referring to an associate is calling them connected. Every associate has a soldier they report to, or in very rare instances the captain himself. You become an associate when a soldier notices your work and takes you under their wing. Being under their wing means that they will protect you and help you run your schemes. From that point on, you are expected to pay a percentage of your illicit earnings to the soldier you report to. As an associate, you are a worker bee for the family and also the go-to for all the dirty work that needs doing. Associates can be of any nationality, religion or ethnicity. While a soldier may coach and help an associate, the associate himself is not really protected within the criminal world and can be seen as expendable by his superiors. The world of La Cosa Nostra is a very political one, maybe more political and technical than any other criminal organization in the world. While the mob rules are broken on almost a daily basis, it's rarely a given that the one breaking them will be punished. Meanwhile, the one that follows the rules to the letter might be on the receiving end of something they may not like. What makes it the way it is? Some mobsters are savvy and good at politics and influence. Others just aren't. There is no clear-cut rule set you should follow in order to be good or bad at mob politics. Oftentimes your fate will be decided for you, especially if you are a low-ranking member. With that being said, it is a game of who you know, what evidence you have, what reputation you have and how much money you bring in for your borgata. Yes, money you kick up has a factor here as well. If you are keeping your boss's pockets fat, they will be less inclined to rule against you in a sit-down, though do not expect them to always rule your way. Knowing how much treachery there is in the life, one must always keep their ears and minds open to what is happening around them and interpret correctly, or else they will fall like many other mafiosi have. Politics also play a huge part in how certain situations could develop. For example, former Lucchese soldier John Panisi mentions how he was not touched in a club brawl, just because a Genovese captain heard he was on his way to get inducted into the Lucchese crime family, and his name was passed around.